There's one thing that I noticed that trips people up, and Dan Kennedy's mentioned this multiple times, and something I read of his recently just kind of piqued my interest on this again. Not working on it, and it is different for every business, but there's one thing that you are not doing that you know you need to do, that you keep finding something else to do instead of that, but it is the thing that needs to be done. Sometimes it's a staff member, sometimes it's a system, sometimes it's, a mindset issue, who knows? But there's something, and if you really sit down and you think about it and you're honest with yourself, what is the thing that I know that's preventing me from blowing the lid off this thing? There's something. And maybe today we'll flesh it out, but I have a feeling you might know what it is already. So I just want to point that out. And then focus is the number one challenge for entrepreneurs, business owners of any kind. And I have been kind of beating this up a bit in the Weekend Wisdoms because the worst thing that you can do is to have a million options, to have a million choices in front of you. It's the same thing with a patient. If you tell them there's 18 ways to restore your tooth, they're going to be, I don't know what to pick. If you give them 2, they'll pick one. Just like your kids. What do you want for dinner? Or would you like this or this? I'll pick that, right? If you let them run, where do I stop with the choices, right? People who are confused don't make a decision. And so the same thing is true for you. If you have, 18 podcasts that you're listening to and 5 books that you're halfway through and a whole bunch of things going, then you're just chasing shiny objects. And you end up making decisions, and I know exactly how this works because I've done it. You make decisions to buy things because, well, maybe that'll save me from having to do the work on whatever it was. Buy this technology, buy that thing, do this, take that course, and just keep distracting myself from actually doing the damn thing I need to do. Fear of missing out is very powerful, but distractions kill growth. So focus is the only thing. I put out a couple of Weekend Wisdoms in the very recent past. I think even tomorrow's is sort of finishing this up. So for me, my role for you is not to do it for you because I can't. My role is to be like out there mining what is the gold that you need, what has worked for me, what I see working across North America, curating things, because I don't want you trying to listen to 500 different people. I want you to focus and put it all in one streamlined path so that the end result is, okay, if I just do this, I know what to do. And creating focus. So here's the definition of overwhelm, right from Wikipedia. So bury or drown beneath a huge mass, defeat completely, give too much of a thing. That doesn't sound like much fun. A lot of people feel overwhelmed. This is not somewhere I'd want to be. I've been there. And this happens because of a lack of leadership, not because of a lack of leadership, but because of a lack of a leadership system. I don't believe that anyone is a bad leader. I just think you don't have a system for leadership. Everyone has the ability to be a leader. So let me introduce you to my friend here. This is Dr. Friendly Smile Maker. Okay? A lot of you will know this fellow. Really nice guy. Loves dentistry. Takes a ton of CE. Great clinician. Built a good practice. $1.5 million. On the outside looks very successful. I call it conventionally successful. Nice house, nice cars, 3 kids and a dog. This is funny, by the way. The average, in our group, it seems like most people have 3 or 4 children. You guys are very prolific. I have 1, and that's all I can do. But that's all I can handle. And in our group, it's like every time I talk to one of you guys, like, 4 kids. Wow, I'm amazed. And so, because it takes a lot of work. And so, Dr. Smile Maker, he's got everything on the outside put together, and he's frustrated, burning out, and exhausted on the inside because staff issues, dealing with increased costs. Some of you guys mentioned IPAC and RCDSO, and every state has this stuff, things that you're dealing with. And every year, for the same 1.6 million that Dr. Smile Maker produces, he takes home a little less. Well, that sucks. And if you look at his net for how much he works, it's very interesting. So let me just take one little diversion from the story, and I'm going to share something else with you. I was at a group when I was this fellow, and I went to this group particularly. I just made the income level to be in this group. This is a group with $100 million company owners. And I went there with two questions. First, why is it that these guys can run hundreds of people and I have difficulty with 12? Okay, just good question. And how do they run their lives when I feel like I'm running ragged all the time, but they're doing 100x of what I'm doing? And so here's what I found. It clicked, the lunchtime conversation was what I went there for. And it was awesome, because this is what clicked for me. In the average business, you have a CEO who runs the business. Okay? CEO has what? COO, right? Operations person, CFO. They have what? HR. They have marketing. Right? So your C-suite of people. And then you have, way down here, you have frontline workers. The frontline workers are the guys building the widgets. Yet in dentistry, we're trying to do all of this. This is the dentist. Gee, why are you frustrated? Right? This is a full-time job. This is a full-time job. So you're effectively trying to do two full-time jobs. So the point of today is, I want to take this off your desk, but you're trying to do two full-time jobs. Let's go back to this fellow. He looks at his friend they golf with, and his friend has a government job and makes whatever, maybe slightly less than what Dr. Smilemaker's taking home, but he has 8 weeks of paid holiday. And at 5 o'clock, he doesn't have to care about anything. And he goes home and lives his life. And so this fellow is getting more and more discouraged day by day. And along comes this consultant. Wow, great, you could fix all this. Where do I sign? And consultant gives this person some great ideas, binder, stuff, things to do, and that's great. And Dr. Smilemaker says, okay, great, I've got your binder, this is perfect, and I will put it on my desk, where all good things go to die. And on the desk it goes, and okay, this is why I tell you get rid of your private office, right? I know this. And we'll talk about that too. On the desk, a little bit of dust, and then Mary comes in and Joanne comes in and put more stuff on the pile, and the pile grows. And then the next binder comes in, okay, great, I'll put it on the desk. And there it is. And then, well, 3, 4, 6 months go by and not much is happening. Dr. Smilemaker says, damn it, this isn't working. Right, it's not. And so vacation time comes around. Hey, great, my one vacation a year. You know what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring my pile. I'm going to pack the damn thing, and I'm going to bring it with me. While everyone's on the beach, I'm going to open my binder, finally. And I've got my binder, and now I'm feeling guilty because I should be over there playing with my kids, but I got my binder. Like, what do I do? And this struggle is annoying. This burns people out. And so next consultant comes along and says, hey, you know what? I got a better binder. It's bigger. More features and benefits. It's perfect. Okay, let's give yours a try. Maybe it'll be better. I've been through 8 consultants, by the way. So you guys who have seen a lot of consultants, I know exactly what we're talking about. And so let me try a different way at this. How many of you guys have seen a 3D printer now? Right? Or you at least know what it is, right? Of course. How many of you guys are printing aligners in your office now? Right? Okay, aspiring to do that? Some of you, good. So a 3D printer is very simple. In one end goes data, an idea. Out the other end comes something you can hold. A clear aligner, whatever. Trying to print skin now for skin grafts. And so what if we could take that concept and build a machine so that you could put in one end your vision, philosophy, direction for the practice, and out the other end could come exactly what you envisioned or pretty damn close to it. That would be a lot more fun. And so back to Dr. Smilemaker here, with a name like that, everyone likes the guy. Frustrated, burned out, tired, irritated, having less and less energy for team issues and so on, right? How much fun was I to work with back then, right? So we'll talk about that. But if we could build this machine where he could say, hey, you know what, I've got this binder. Really good binder of lots of ideas. I'd like to just put it in the machine and watch it happen. Could we do that? Yes, you can. That's exactly what we're going to do today. So if you skip over this step, you're not going to get what you should be getting out of your practice. And it doesn't matter what you learn from who, there's going to be a stumbling block. And so this is the thing that allowed me to take the governor off and go from 7 to 14 to 17 chairs, and I don't even know how many staff members and 9 dentists and all of that. And if it wasn't for my team driving this, there would have been no chance of doing it. I am not, as a single person, capable of doing that, and I don't think anybody is because of this. You can't do 2 full-time jobs, right? Because I'll tell you one thing about people who run $100 million, billion-dollar companies, and many of you know these people. They're smart, but they're not like incredibly different from you and I. It's just the system that makes it possible. Some of them are downright dysfunctional, to be honest, but they surround themselves with great people and a great system. Yet we try to do everything ourselves because that's the model that you see everyone else use. And I'm telling you that is a mistake. So when people ask me, how are you different from anyone else? This is the answer I give them now. I tell them a little bit about this story because it is the difference between any other option and getting results. So it's not like we didn't learn a few things from the 8 consultants. I have tons of binders. I have like shelves of binders. And when I go back to them, they're good ideas, but I didn't have a structure to do anything with them. So I found them all when we moved. This is the system. This is the machine we're going to build today, okay? So we're going to talk about this later, probably this afternoon, step by step by step, okay? Conceptually now, I just want you to understand, and this is in your binders, there's multiple copies of it printed. The idea is, and exactly how it works, not just conceptually, doctor creates the vision. Leadership structure executes the vision, period. The rest of this is, we'll get into all the details. But that's how you want to structure it. The last 5 years I ran my practice, I was inputting vision, ideas, advice to leadership structure, and then they executed, just like the 3D printer I told you about. That's the only way to do this. I mean, yeah, there's a transition along the way. It's not just going to be like Monday we're going to have this in place and I no longer do anything. Like, you have to offload this, and there's the structure to actually get people to, start to hit the mark for you, and we're going to talk about that too today. But just understand conceptually, this is the difference between the binder on the desk and Dr. Smilemaker actually enjoying what he does for a living and making some really good money. Okay, and there is a full-size printout of this in your binders. And we're going to go through this piece by piece, okay? Who all these people are, what they do, and all of that, okay?